Agriculture, Senator Heineken Lepobiri said, agriculture is the biggest business in the world. Therefore, great attention should be paid to it. Many thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Agro on TV. My name is Faith Ezenwere. Today, we'll be serving you with rich insights from the green sector. Be a part of the show by sending your comments and suggestions to our social media platforms showing on your screen. We'll be right back after this time out. Stay with us. Not long ago, we witnessed successful commissioning of a cassava peels conversion plant in Ojakwata, Kogi State, Nigeria by Senegals, a leading agricultural company. They have gone a step further to launch this plant in Makurdi, Benue State capital. Details of this and more makes up the post today.
To the glory of the Almighty God, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Following its successful commissioning of a cassava peels conversion plant in Ojakwata in Kogi State, Senegals, a leading agriculture company in Nigeria, has again launched the prototype in Makurdi, Benue State capital. Speaking at the Oracle Cassava Peels factory, stakeholders who graced the event emphasized on the need for the establishment of the plant and how important the innovation is to the state.
One of the greatest problems we're facing today in agriculture is the herdsmen and the farmers. Actually, the herdsmen, why are they moving about? For two things: feed and water. This project will easily make feed at very good, affordable rate to the farmers, to the herdsmen. And apart from getting job for the women, it's a project that we will all welcome in any part of this country.
If you want to go into international trade, this, I believe, will come to a level where Nigeria will have to be exporting cassava peel waste, turning into feed for livestock, and we export to, even if you cannot go far, meeting the need of West Africa alone can bring money to somebody's purse.
The governor of the state, who was represented by the Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, Honorable Hamboa James, praised the company for turning what has been termed waste into wealth.
This capacity is inadequate. Yes, I said it without any apology. One, the cassava that will be produced in Benue State, this factory will not be able to off-take. And given the fact that the delicate nature of cassava transportation that is involved, moving cassava from Oweto in Agata to this place will take a minimum from a local farmer, will take a minimum of 2 days. So I'm still appealing that in as much as this has solved about 50 or 45% of our problem, I am still soliciting that we still need 2 of this type.
It is important for me to say to you that this would not have been possible without the governor of Benue State, Governor Otom. Honorable Commissioner would be mindful of the fact that we sat with him one afternoon, telling him about what we're doing, and the governor was so enthusiastic, was so impressed at this opportunity, and it's very rare to see the state chief executive take a personal interest in the kind of work we do. And that interest was clear, and we are seeing the result of the interest today.
Agricultural stakeholders in the country have commended the proposed ban of importation of tomato paste into the country by the federal government. Speaking to AgroOnTV at the Agricultural Research Fact-Finding Workshop in Lagos State, Chairman of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Otumba Femi Oke, highlighted the benefits of the policy when implemented.
The policy of which we have seen is very, very good for us to have at least to start to ban importation of the tomato. This will encourage our farmers especially, and two, on the added value chain of which government is trying to put on, it will even increase the volume of our production, and most of our farmers and people in the production sector can even do more. So it's a welcome address, welcome development from our government, and this will now let us know that we too will have to encourage what we are doing in our country, especially in the area of food security.
Glad to have you back. Malnutrition is a major crisis in the country. Report has it that over 2.5 million children are malnourished. What is the way out? Join me in this chat with Dr. Okoruwa as we discuss on addressing this menace on Talk Time. Hello and welcome to yet another beautiful segment of Talk Time. I have with me here the Senior Project Manager of Post-Harvest Loss Alliance for Nutrition, Dr. Okoruwa. Good to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here with you.
Could you please do us the honor of introducing yourself to the audience?
As you have rightly said, my name is Dr. Okoruwa. I'm a food technologist by training, and I'm currently the Senior Project Manager for the Post-Harvest Loss Alliance for Nutrition project at the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition.
Okay, so now about the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. Tell us about the organization. What are you people doing? What are you into, basically? People want to know that.
Yeah, thank you. The Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition was launched in 2002 at the special session of the United Nations to address the issue of human suffering caused by malnutrition. GAIN, as it's popularly called, is headquartered at Geneva, Switzerland. And we have a vision of a world without malnutrition. And in order to contribute our own quota, we have expertise in convening alliances between the government, the private sector, and the civil society on activities aimed at reducing malnutrition across board. And we have country offices in about 10 countries, but our activities span through currently over 30 countries. And our areas of work include agriculture for nutrition, under which the Post-Harvest Loss Alliance for Nutrition project is domiciled. We have large-scale food fortification projects, and we also have this, the Sun Business Network, as well as Mothers Young Infant Nutrition.
All right, now PLAN, Post-Harvest Loss Alliance for Nutrition. What is it all about?
PLAN, as the name implies, is Post-Harvest Loss Alliance for Nutrition. This is a project that is aimed at reducing post-harvest losses of nutritious foods. As you may be aware, nutritious foods are critical for maintaining improved nutrition. And currently, perishable produce, such as fresh fruits and vegetables, are highly perishable, up to 50% on average in sub-Saharan Africa, and in Nigeria, same thing. Over 50% of our fresh fruits and vegetables are lost. So the Post-Harvest Loss Alliance is a global and also a countrywide initiative that GAIN is running. And it is aimed at bringing all the actors together for collective impact to reduce post-harvest losses of nutritious foods. For Nigeria, the PLAN Alliance kicked off in 2016, and we did identify 3 key areas of intervention that, if actions are taken along that value chain of fresh fruits and vegetables, that it will result in reduced losses if all the actors work together hand in hand. And these are the cold chain, creating and packaging, and processing. So in furtherance to our objective of reducing post-harvest losses, we've carried out several activities in Nigeria, and at the global level, we have several stakeholders meeting, and we are actually programming activities to achieve our goal.
Okay, now, according to the United Nations World Food Programme, a report has it that food insecurity has reached its extreme levels, especially in the northeast part of the country. What is of the country of Nigeria, basically? What is your reaction to this report?
Well, there are several factors that will contribute to food insecurity, and I've just highlighted one. And one of them is the huge post-harvest losses. Apart from this, the insecurity problem that was occasioned by the Boko Haram terrorists, our take on this is that agriculture is key. and agriculture as a business, not just agriculture as it used to be. So the implication is that the food insecurity in the north can be addressed when we deploy all factors of production into action as far as agriculture is concerned. Engaging the youth in agriculture is one important aspect. You engage the youth, and after the production of the food, we need to make sure that the losses are minimized, there is value addition, and there is diversified diet.
Okay, now there's the problem of malnutrition, basically, is a big problem in the country. And of course, we have reports that 2.5 million children are malnourished. Now, I don't know, how is your organization, how have they been able to address this issue of malnutrition in the country?
Yeah, again, has been actively involved in addressing issues aimed at reducing malnutrition among children, among women, among adolescent girls in Nigeria. And some of the projects that Gain actually participated actively in include the large-scale food fortification, whereby staple foods were encouraged to be fortified, and in tandem with the federal government initiatives and program support, we actually were the organization that also strongly supported the National Fortification Alliance, and this was why vitamin A fortification of staple foods, flour, vegetable oil, sugar was done in Nigeria, and that's part of our contribution. And for additional private sector involvement, the Sun Business Network is promoting the small-scale and industrial production of complementary foods, high nutrient or value products, so that they can be accessible to the generality of the public.
Do you have a mechanism, for working with subnational governments, basically, or are you just something you're working on your own? I mean, how have you been able to involve the government into what you were doing?
Thank you. Before this particular project plan started, we actually had consultations with several stakeholders, including the federal government, and we used as a point of contact the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, and we actually met with the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Chief Okoruwa, working with the Department of Horticulture, Value Chain at the Ministry of Agriculture. And in principle, the minister actually gave us a letter of intent to support us in working on the Post-Harvest Loss Alliance for Nutrition. And I think this is very significant because the agriculture promotion policy and the new initiative that for Green Revolution is important for reducing food insecurity. So we work with the government and the ministry, department, and agencies. We have, as part of the alliance, we have the Standard Organization of Nigeria for Food Safety and NAFDAC. We also have research institutes we are working with, which are domiciled under the government ministries. We have the Federal Institute of Industrial Research. We have the National Horticultural Research Institute. We have the Nigeria Stock Product Research Institute. We have the Nigeria Social and Economic Research Institute, NISA. And these are all members of the Alliance. And we have the universities, the knowledge and academia. We have the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, the Federal University of Technology, Akure, University of Ibadan. And then some other non-governmental organizations are working in collaboration with us. So essentially, this project is built on two legs. The Alliance, which I've just given an example, and a critical component of this alliance, the hub, the driving force of this alliance, is the business-to-business engine, whereby we work with companies and that in the cold chain, in the creating and packaging and processing, and we're able to define the activities, what they do, and are able to link them up with international best practices through technical assistance and, where applicable, through grants to support the production of nutritious foods, and in particular to reduce the post-harvest losses that is not acceptable at this level for fresh fruits and vegetables in Nigeria. We are using tomato as a project crop, for instance, to demonstrate why it is critical for us to reduce post-harvest losses. On average, we produce on average about 2 million metric tons of tomato, and if we lose 50% of that, we know what that means. And that implies that that food does not get to the table for anybody to eat. That food is wasted. And since it is wasted, it's of no value. And so that's why it's critical for the federal government of Nigeria to actually implement a programmatic approach to ensure that food that is produced in this country will reduce the losses so that we can have more food available, which will also help in stabilizing prices and making them more available and accessible to the population.
All right, thank you for that. Now, we've heard about Scale-Up Nutrition Network.
Yeah.
Can you please enlighten us on that? And of course, what is GAIN's involvement in the network and how you think it will be able to, impact the private sector, especially in agriculture?
Firstly, the Scale-Up Nutrition Network is significant. It is saying that it takes away the initial focus of that government must do everything. The Scale-Up Nutrition now involves the public-private partnership. It now involves the private sector, driving the private sector. About 10 years, 20 years ago, if you tell the private sector that there is business in nutrition, nobody will listen to you. So what the Sun Business Network Society is doing is to let the world know, is to let businesses know that there's business in scaling up nutrition to ensure that the primary objective of agriculture, which is for nutrition, is achieved. So this encourages businesses to produce nutritious foods, products, to address the issue of malnutrition, and at the same time, as more value addition is done to these food products, it helps to reduce the post-harvest losses, and at the same time make the much needed nutrients available to children, women, men, the whole household for improved nutrition.
Looking at FNS, Feed Nigeria Summit,
Yeah.
how do you think this will help to, help your team of FNS, help to achieve, what your goals are, what you stand for, what GAIN basically stand for?
Yeah, the Feed Nigeria Summit will add value in several ways. One is by communicating the awareness that first, as the name implies, Feed Nigeria Summit. If you lose the food that you produce, you cannot sufficiently feed the nation. So one aspect of the Feed Nigeria Summit will be to address the issue of reducing post-harvest losses. And as that issue comes up across board, for the government, for the civil society, for the private sector, it implies that at this summit, far-reaching decisions should be taken on how to, one, ensure that agriculture is taken as a business, and why being taken as a business to ensure there is value addition to agricultural produce, and to ensure that there is reduction in post-harvest losses, especially of the perishable produce, which in particular are what we call the nutritious foods, especially the fresh fruits and vegetables.
What ways do you think the government can actually use to address this problem of malnourishment, malnutrition in the country?
I go back again to agriculture. We are blessed with so much land. We are blessed with so many varieties of crops. We have several livestock. We have the waterways, we have the rivers, we have the oceans, where we can have access to seafood, where we can have access to livestock, poultry, eggs, fresh fruits and vegetables. We have access to this. One way of reducing malnutrition is to harness these natural resources in a cost-effective way and in promoting agriculture among the youth. That's one aspect. The second aspect is to ensure that government policies enable finance to reach smallholder farmers. As of today, much of the production is still done by smallholder farmers. And for food to reach the table, we need to produce. And if the lack of access to finance for businesses in agriculture is a major issue, if that is attended to, it will help. But the other aspect is diversification of diets. People should not just get stuck because it's a sorghum that is available in my area. It's sorghum I eat in the morning. Because it's cassava that is available in my area, eat cassava, eat cassava. We have soybean, we have other products, we have maize. The diversification of diet is key to address that. And for the food industry, fortification of food products. Just like I said, staple food products is key. And that's one area the Sun Business Network is looking at. And then, of course, making available nutritious foods, such as fresh fruits and vegetables. Reducing their losses and making more available is also one aspect of addressing malnutrition in Nigeria. So I believe very strongly that with the focus of the agricultural promotion policy actually being strategically put into use, and we drive the PPP, it will help. And like you know, GAIN is not working in isolation. Several other development agencies, we are working hand in hand. We're a leader in convening alliances between the civil society, between the industry, between the private sector and government. And that is what GAIN is also actually deploying as a means of achieving set objectives.
Okay, now if you were to paint a picture of an ideal relationship between GAIN and the government, what will it comprise of?
Today, GAIN operation in Nigeria, because I'm domiciled in Nigeria, as of today, we have very good relationship with the government. GAIN actually is the one that is seconding the senior advisor on food security and nutrition to the Honorable Minister of Agriculture. That office, that position is seconded by GAIN, year in, year out. So that's to tell you the level of collaboration and understanding between the government and GAIN. And also, in many of government activities, GAIN is actually represented. GAIN actually called to make input. For example, the Interministerial Committee on Agriculture and Nutrition, GAIN is part of it. And actually, I'm actually representing GAIN in that group. So GAIN is fully working in tandem with the government of Nigeria to achieve its set objectives in this area of food security and nutrition within the capabilities as an international non-profit organization.
All right, thank you so much. So, do you have anything to say to those out there who are listening to you on the issue of especially, the aspect of malnutrition and of course how it can actually be, better managed in the country? And some other things you want to say?
Yes, on the issue of malnutrition, I think many people just hear about malnutrition. They really don't understand the dimensions of malnutrition. Malnutrition is not just not having enough. It also involves some other aspects, such as obesity. It's a problem of malnutrition. People don't relate that to that. They don't relate to that. Stunting is a problem of malnutrition. What we need today is to let people know that at the household level, the choice you make on the type of food you eat is important as it affects your level of nutrition. The primary requirements: protein, carbohydrate, fat, vitamins, and minerals, and even water that people take for granted. It is important that these are actually taken in a manner that is diversified and complementary, so that at the end of it all, you have the food complement of the nutrients that you require for adequate nutrition. So I will encourage viewers and my fellow colleagues, my fellow Nigerians, that we should look holistically at the household menu that we take, and ensure that with all the raw materials we have in Nigeria, with all the agricultural produce we have in Nigeria, roots and tubers, cereals, nuts, pulses, lentils that we have, if we deploy them properly, and then we do also household food processing and fortification. There's household food processing, minimal processing to retain the nutrients, and where there is need, we purchase fortified food products, and also We also participate in home level fortification, such as the use of macronutrient powders where they are available. And then we also grow produce that we know are nutritious for us. Go back, have gardens, and then of course, the behavioral change. Communication is key. People must know now that what you eat defines your health, and you must eat right. You must eat well.
Thank you so much for being on this program.
Thank you very much. And as I conclude, please ensure that you have fresh fruits and vegetables on your diet.
All right, you've heard it from Dr. Augustine. Eat well, eat right, and ensure that you have fresh food and vegetables on your desk. That's how much you can take today on Talk Time. Till I come your way again, I remain Faith Ezengare.
Did you know that 1 of 6 children in Nigeria is malnourished? Did you know that Sub-Saharan Africa is the region with the highest prevalence of hunger? Did you know that over 20 million people in Nigeria do not have enough food to lead a healthy, active life? So, what exactly is the way out? Come, let's forge solutions at the Feed Nigeria Summit. To achieve the Feed Africa agenda, it is imperative that Nigeria is fed. A congregation that will address key national agricultural productivity issues like nutrition, post-harvest losses mitigation, improved food systems, market access, infrastructure, mechanization, ICT, youth as well as appropriate policies and legislations will all be present. Also, critical financial products to enhance investment in agricultural value chain shall be unveiled. The event will also feature the Nigeria Agriculture Awards, a platform for celebrating the men, women and institutions that have contributed to the re-emergence and development of Nigeria as a veritable force in agriculture. FNS 2017, Feed Nigeria to Feed Africa.
The major challenges farmers in Ogun State face is that of security. On Agro Star this week, Ogun State Commissioner for Agriculture, Honorable Adepeju Adebajo, which raised the government's commitment to put an end to the issue of insecurity.
The first overall vision is that we want to restore Ogun State to its former position as the food basket and the food producing state of Nigeria. As you know, much of the western region was built on agriculture. That agriculture fostered education in the western region and also in fact fostered industrialization, and that's the way that most countries have developed. So we believe that at this point in time it's extremely important that agriculture takes that rightful position in Ogun State. We have a 13-point agenda which sounds quite ambitious. We have identified areas across crops. Agriculture, as you know, consists of crop production, livestock, fisheries. It's not, and forestry actually. So it's quite a broad area, and we've identified areas across that whole spectrum where we think we know we have a competitive advantage. It's not everything that we can do, but we must focus on certain areas at this point in time. We've identified youth and women as particular segments of beneficiaries that we're interested in. We've also identified our civil and public servants. We have a huge population of civil and public servants, and we need to encourage them to go into agriculture and agribusiness. So across those areas, the sectors, across the beneficiary groups, we've also identified what I call enablers, the things that farmers and people involved in agriculture usually complain about. A lot of it is about information and communication. Communication is two-way. So first of all, we need to actually listen to the private sector and understand what the issues are. There's no point in me sitting here in my chair imagining what the issues are. We need to listen to the private sector, understand what the issues are, and make sure that our interventions are very specific and targeted along those areas. Some of them I've mentioned: access to land, security, rural roads sometimes could be an issue, the ability to get the product out to market as quickly as possible, Funding sometimes could be an issue. But we believe that with the state listening to the private sector and responding to their needs, we would encourage many more of them to do what they already want to do, which is source their raw materials closer to home. There are also many schemes. Many of the funding schemes are very structured and systematic in the ways in which they can actually link groups of farmers to the eventual off-takers. There are many such schemes, and what we also need to do is sometimes help the private sector organize those groups of farmers. We have the register of farmers. We know where they are. We know which crops go in which particular areas. We know where the farmers are. The state also provides inputs such as fertilizer and chemicals. The states will provide the infrastructure like the roads. The states will provide the extension and training services. So all of those that I've described are different ways of facilitating and enabling private sector involvement. There is such a world of opportunity out there. Some people see challenges and some people see opportunities. Is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? Even in countries where there is war and famine, there are people who are succeeding. And so it's very important for our youth. We recently had a youth convention. It's very important for our youth to take all of the information that was provided to them at that youth convention and decide how they want to progress with their own particular plan, given their own particular passions, given their own particular purposes and objectives. And we are prepared to work with them because we recognize that agriculture and farming has not necessarily been an area that has attracted youth. And we're prepared to work with them, to train them, to find companies that are going to mentor them. Some of the companies at the youth convention who attended have volunteered to take certain numbers of them and mentor them and train them. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But the opportunity comes to those who are prepared. And that is what equates to success.
The end seems near for illegal importers of frozen fish into the country as federal government plans to prosecute any culprit with a 5-year jail term or a fine of $250,000. Do you think this is enough to curb the problem? This is what the people have to say on Street Vibes.
The punishment might look too minute for the offense involved, but we've got to start from somewhere. So definitely once they start with that, then it will curb people from going to it. Then if they fail to change, then a stiffer punishment can be done. But I think it is a good start.
It's a strategy, although it will cushion the effect a bit, but it cannot 100% eradicate, because you know that some people, they are risk averse. When they say risk averse, some people can take risk in order to survive.
One would be importing something that is so dangerous for the health just to make money. I think it's very, very wrong, and I really thank God at least for the federal government to make a such decision.
Definitely, like the economy says, you know, the higher the demand. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you actually involve in this and they give you a high bill, what we have to do is to go back and rethink. Either you stop or you face the spot. These are the things that are involved. We cannot continue to be condoling all this nonsense because a lot of harmful things are happening. So Nigeria should learn a lesson. Let them have a bill they cannot pay so that they will go back to their home and relax and then do something genuinely.
Agriculture is that big business we all should venture into. This brings us to the end of today's episode of AgroOnTV. Many thanks for being there. If you missed any part of the show, not to worry. You can always catch up on YouTube as each episode of AgroOnTV is available for your view. Send in your comments and contributions to all the social media platforms showing on your screen, and we will showcase them on the program. Don't forget you can also advertise your products and services on this show, as well as contact us for the management of your agricultural projects and events. Till I come your way again next week, I remain Faith as a think growth, think agriculture. Bye for now.